Nothing like a good old guitar riff. Nothing like it. Nothing quite like it. Nothing quite like it. You guys, welcome back to Good Morning NFC East. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II, holding it down for my man Jeff Kerr, who's en route back to the windy city of Philadelphia. Oh man, I know Jeff had a hell of a time out there in Glendale. Shout out to him. Can't wait to pick his brain when he comes back on Thursday. So you guys have me for today, and you guys have me for another day tomorrow. And then Jeff and I will be back on Thursday. So until then, we're going to have some fun. We're going to act the fool. We're going to show off while the parents aren't home, okay? We're going to have ourselves a house party. Now, don't break nothing in the house, okay? Don't break nothing in the house. We got to make sure we leave it just the way we found it. But as long as you guys got me until my man Jeff Kerr comes back, we wilding out, baby. We wilding out. So I appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. I appreciate you guys for also being committed to the content. Like I told you guys before, you guys are the football psychos. The season is over. The Super Bowl has passed. And now all the casuals are gone. I don't want to segment or fragment the JAKIB Sports subscriber base, but let's call it what it is. All the casuals are gone. Everyone who's still holding it down, not just for the Philadelphia Eagles, but who still have that football itch, even 2 days after the Super Bowl, you guys are the football dynamos, the football psychos. All the casuals have left the building. All the casuals have turned in their shoulder pads, have turned in their playbooks. You see what I'm saying, Min Diggity? Hey, listen, I'm not going to trip about that. I'm not tripping about that because, look, I'm riding solo today. That's a pretty good number for me personally. Maybe I'm being, maybe I'm reaching for the low-hanging fruit. Maybe I need to elevate my aspirations. But so far, I mean, we got 100 solid viewers in here. 100 solid. You want to know why I can live with that? Because I know you guys are the real MVPs. I know you guys are truly, truly locked in on this thing. We're not going to waste our time with any trolls. We're not going to waste our time with anybody who wants to talk about the nonsense of the game. We're going to capitalize on this time. You ever heard of the old adage, quality over quantity? That's what the offseason is like. You find your high quality football fans. Like I said, the casuals already turned in their shoulder pads. You guys turned in your shoulder pads too, but what you didn't do is turn in that playbook. Y'all holding on to that all summer, and I like it. I love it. And I can't wait to go on this ride with you guys because we have so much to discuss as the offseason progresses. Free agency, scouting, draft profiles, and, what the Eagles are going to do with their 2 first-round picks, Jalen Hurts' contract negotiations, OTAs, training camp. There's so much to really, the NFL combine. You follow me here? So all the casuals have turned in their shoulder pads and their playbook. We all turned in our shoulder pads too because the season is over, but what we didn't do is turn in the playbook. We still got the playbook. We holding on to that. We ain't giving it up. We ain't giving it up. Hey, listen, RMP, I get it. It was a heartbreaker. I get it. If you needed to drink some tea, if you needed some some R&R, rest and relaxation, if you needed some TLC, some tender loving care, my brother, I feel you. That was a hard pill to swallow on Sunday. So I ain't mad at it. Now, listen, before you guys start digging deep on players in the draft, I haven't quite done my homework yet. So, Solomon Lord, if you think Gibbs is that dude, I trust you. But I haven't quite done my digging yet. I was so locked in on the season. I haven't really done any personal research on any prospects. So don't get it twisted. we're going to dig deep on this thing. We have about 15 minutes left in the show. So, where do you guys want to go with this, right? I say we kind of briefly touched on it. But I think something we can do is talk about the coaching situation in Philadelphia, the coaching carousel. So as we all know, as we all have heard, Shane Steichen is in Indianapolis. Shane Steichen is now the head coach for the Colts. All right. To each his own. I'm all about elevating. I'm all about taking opportunities when you got the opportunity. So congratulations, first and foremost, to Shane Steichen. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Philadelphia Eagles offense looks like going forward. Also, Jonathan Gannon. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone, but there is a chance Jonathan Gannon may be out the door as well. But I don't know who would hire him after that defensive performance. I don't know who would take a chance on him after that. That's a different conversation. But will it be Arizona? The rumor is he's interviewing with those people. Maybe they'll hire him. They're idiotic over there. Who are they? The Bidwells? They just giving out money. So maybe they will hire Jonathan Gannon in an NFL. Let me break this down properly. Maybe they will hire Jonathan Gannon, a defensive mind, a lackluster defensive mind at that, in an offensive league, a passing league. Yeah, maybe they'll do that, right? Maybe the Cardinals will hire Jonathan Gannon. Like I said, I don't know how someone hires him after that performance, but this is the NFL, and people are always looking for that young, bright mind to bring into their organization to change the culture. And I don't think you're changing the culture by bringing in a defensive guy for an offensive guy. Now, maybe Jonathan Gannon will be a better head coach, and he delegates some duties. You never know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know this man's future, but right now, his philosophies are shot. Everything about the way he had this team playing defense was fraudulent. But let's get back to Shane Steichen. Let's get back to the offensive coordinator position for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get back there, because I think that's the more pressing issue. I believe no matter what happens, though, Jalen Hurts, what's best for Jalen Hurts has to be placed at the forefront, because Jalen Hurts is a quarterback that, remember, he hasn't had, or this is the first time in his career he's had the same system 2 years in a row. He's been operating in different systems for the past several years, but this is the first time in a long time he's been able to operate in the same system. Therefore, I think it's important to elevate someone from within the organization. That way, you are doing what's ultimately best for your quarterback's development, what's best for his comfort. If you're going to pay this guy, you want to make sure you have him in a situation that's as optimal as possible. So, to me, I believe the logical choice would be to elevate someone from within. I think that person should be Brian Johnson, the quarterback coach. I think he deserves an opportunity. Brian Johnson has strong ties with Jalen Hurts. I believe Jalen Hurts' father coached Brian Johnson as a football player in high school, so they have that familial connection. Brian Johnson is also, not single-handedly, but he is one of the gentlemen, one of the main figureheads responsible for Jalen Hurts' ascension. Jalen Hurts obviously put the work in. We know that. We know he worked with Tom House. But Brian Johnson is one that helped keep the technique, helped keep the fundamentals and the footwork sharp all year. You know, there's some quarterbacks in Eagles past who allowed their footwork, their technique, their fundamentals to fall by the wayside. We're not going to bring up any names here. That's the past. We're living in the present. But Brian Johnson is someone I believe who needs an opportunity, who should have an opportunity to be elevated from quarterback coach to the offensive coordinator position. Now, let me know what you guys think about that. Jay Owen says Brian Johnson should be the guy. The real MP just wants someone that can ball, OC and DC, and I get it. You want somebody that got some swagger, some juice, that's ain't afraid to pull the trigger. I get it. Jay Owen says Johnson will be the OC. True Savage says, agreed, Brian. This is the move. He agrees that Brian Johnson should be the move. Danny D agrees. William Stark says he'll be elevated as well. Now, I think it's important to make that decision quickly and soundly. I don't think that's something you want to linger. Make the decision quickly and soundly. Now, James feels like we should give Jonathan Gannon a break. He says he's young and inexperienced. Of course he was going to get outcoached by Andy. It took Andy 20 years to win a Super Bowl after sleeping in his office every day developing his scheme. Andy was a head coach, for one, not just a coordinator. So therefore, Andy had more on his plate. Jonathan Gannon had one job. You see, here's the thing, right? We allowed Jonathan Gannon to get by with this style of defense all year. And the numbers, the statistics show it was a productive defense. But when it came down to it, when the chips were all down, when you actually have to face a real legit quarterback that can make throws, that can surgically dismantle you, you got to make sure you're doing everything possible to put your players in a good position. JG had all year to get this scheme buttoned up. Like the real MP says, JG fell for the same okie doke twice. The same play for both touchdowns, the same route concept. Like, I'm not going to sit here and give Jonathan Gannon credit. This isn't a personal shot against him. This is about his philosophy. This is about his scheme. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to make it about the scheme because a lot of the players, not a lot of people in the NFL play the scheme. But his philosophy, the way he executed, lackluster. Did not put his corners in the best position. Did not have those guys prepared. Did not make adjustments. I'm not going to give Jonathan Gannon credit, man. Come on, dog. Get him out of here. Send them on the first plane to Alcatraz or something. I wasn't even giving him a plane ticket. You got to ride the bus back, homie. James, that's my point. He wasn't tested, but at the same time, he didn't respond either. He knew what he was dealing with, and he felt his scheme would trump all things. Alf then says, I'm a little confused about being told not to break all the furniture while I'm staring the blood. What? Okay, all right. You got to break that down for me, Alf then. You got to break that down for me. Mendiggity says the corners were confused. That's coaching. You're right. His job was to settle his players down and say, look, this is what they're doing. This is how we're going to respond. That game was fluid. That game was evolving. Drive by drive by drive because of the stellar quarterbacking, because of the stellar offensive coaching. I don't blame Nick Sirianni for that loss. Nick Sirianni did a pretty good job to me. Would I have had him make a few different decisions in the second half when it comes to maybe fourth down conversions? Yeah, I felt like he took his foot off the gas a little bit. I felt like Nick Sirianni and Steichen got a little passive in that third quarter. I believe they should have went for that fourth down. When you got a chance to put the knife through and twist it, you got to take it. But that's then. But like I mentioned prior, I think it's imperative that whatever decision you do make with the coaching situation in Philadelphia, you have to elevate from within. You want to make sure Jalen Hurts is hearing the same voices for as long as possible, because that matters to a young quarterback. That matters to someone's development. Can you imagine working at a company and you're not really sure what the pecking order is? You're not really sure how the leadership hierarchy is constructed. And they continue to rotate and bring in these different superiors, different team leaders, or different executives, and they just keep telling you to do different things. And they're just keep saying, hey, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. Hey, listen, this is the new style of how we're doing this, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way. How can someone learn? How can someone retain information? How can someone elevate if you continue to change leadership? In other words, how can you expect us to maintain what we do well and expand on what we do well if you continue to bring in outside voices, or not even outside voices, if you continue to bring in new voices that we haven't heard before? It's important for Brian Johnson to get this opportunity because of the relationship he has with Jalen Hurts. He has the pulse of that quarterback. Jalen Hurts will continue to get better in the offseason. He's going to work with his guys. Maybe he'll go back with Tom House and continue to refine those mechanics. Maybe he'll work on his ball security. I expect Jalen Hurts to check every box this offseason. Because remember, Brian Johnson is employed by the Philadelphia Eagles. So because of the collective bargaining agreement, they can't communicate but so much about certain things. But I believe it's important for Brian Johnson to be the guy. I think he will be the guy. And then as far as the DC, man, I personally believe if Jonathan Gannon goes elsewhere, now the rumor is the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to retain him. Unless that man, I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna. I don't want to pretend like someone can't learn from their mistakes. People make mistakes. People learn. That's true. But at the same time, Jonathan Gannon, maybe is it a case of you don't know what you don't know? Is it a case of that? Or is it a case of getting fat off of your inferior opponents you faced in terms of the quarterback position? Because no one played anybody that much this year. That's the reality. I'm not going to sit here and say the Eagles didn't play anybody. But in particular, when it comes to the quarterback position, the Eagles haven't really faced too many quarterbacks that were elite this year. Aaron Rodgers, but it was a down year. Kyler Murray, but he was not elite at all in that game. Trevor Lawrence is on his way to being elite. I think Trevor Lawrence is probably top 5 in his league. I think we already agreed on that. The best quarterbacks the Eagles have faced: Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers. I think those are the best quarterbacks the Eagles faced all year. So is it a case of you don't know what you don't know? Like, you can't prepare for what you haven't experienced? But I feel like that's kind of lazy. I've prepared for things I have yet to experience because I'd rather be over-prepared, right? You stay ready so you don't got to get ready. You feel me? And I think that's my problem with Jonathan Gannon. He relies so heavily on his scheme. He never stays ready. He always has to get ready. And sometimes he doesn't even get ready. He keeps falling back on his scheme. That's what I think. Steven, I'm not putting it all on Gannon. Gannon is the one I'm talking about, though. It's a difference. I'm not putting it all on Gannon, but I am talking about Gannon. Follow me here. I'm not putting it all on him, but he is the one I am talking about. We're going to break this down all week. I only have an hour with you guys. And trust me, I didn't spend most of this show talking about Gannon. I spent most of it talking about Jalen Hurts as being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFC. Need I say it again? So I don't believe Jonathan. Now I'll put it to you this way. This is what I will put on Jonathan Gannon. His inability to respond to what the Chiefs were doing. Look at the players. They were confused. That is coaching. They didn't know what they were seeing. Look how, did we see how discombobulated they were? Jonathan Gannon needed to rally the troops. But again, we're going to break this down all week. And Steven, I appreciate you for locking in as well. I appreciate all of you guys, Mint Diggity, Shakur, the backup plan, Jay Owen, Solomon Lord, Jeff Walker. I appreciate all you guys for liking on the content. We're going to begin to close this show out. Like I said to you guys earlier in the show, Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and he is the best quarterback in the NFC. It's unquestionable. Sure, you're going to have people say, oh, he doesn't have the arm talent as a Herbert, or he's a Josh Allen, and oh man, he doesn't have the pedigree as a Trevor Lawrence. I don't give a damn. The results are the results. My man was in the Super Bowl. He has an NFC championship. He's an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, all in 1 year, MVP runner-up, all in 1 year. Jalen Hurts, this isn't a question anymore. There's more than one way to play the quarterback position, and I'll leave it at that. I appreciate y'all for locking in on the content. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. This has been Good Morning NFC East, and I appreciate y'all for locking in with me. Make sure you guys continue to stay locked in on JAKIB Sports. Next up is Birds 365 with Jody Mack and John McMullen. Now, here's a surprise, you guys. John McMullen's not going to be there today. He's in transit from Arizona back to Philadelphia, back to the Philadelphia area. So Jody Mack has me, Mac and Tone. Jody and Tone, Joe and Tone, however you want to break it down, baby. It's a Mac and Tone affair on Birds 365. So keep it locked, you guys. Y'all don't want to miss it. This has been Good Morning NFC East. We'll see y'all in a little bit. Stay tuned.